Thank you very much, Honorable President. This afternoon and this evening, we have been discussing and debating a motion on finance, and particularly the Development Loans Act. Well, before going into further discussion on that, let me inform the leader of government business, Senator Emery Brown, that our political leader is as strong as ever, coming strong to defeat you all in the election as soon as it is called. She has been the best performing Prime Minister this country ever had between 2010 and 2015. She defeated the PNM in the last local government election, and she's going to defeat you all again in the general election when it is coming. So at the departure lounge is your Prime Minister who said that he doesn't mind losing an election from because of the property tax. And that property tax, he will lose that debate on that property tax. The people of this country do not want the property tax. I know it is coming up for debate, I won't dwell on it, and they will vote him out as just from that alone. The last speaker, the Honorable Senator, spoke about the United National Congress, and this side has never supported any developmental project. Absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. The United National Congress has worked with the government on many occasions, has supported bills on many occasions, have supported the Point Lisas industrial complex, which Ken Julian started, admittedly. Prime Minister Basdev Pandey was the one who dealt with Atlantic Trains 1. Atlantic Train 1, Senator Mark will know that. And so when they come with this nonsensical statement, but we never support anything that the PNM wanted for the development of the country. Tell me what development PNM has done for this country, except the Point Lisas industrial estate. First of all, Prime Minister Eric Williams closed down the railway line, East-West railway line. Then Prime Minister Manning closed down the sugar industry, where 100,000 people lost their jobs and employment, and thousands of lives have gone into making people snow cone vendors and doubles vendors. And then recently with Petrotrin, where thousands of citizens of Trinidad and Tobago lost their jobs. So who have done the destruction of Trinidad and Tobago more than PNM? 3 major plants. The railway, they closed down. The sugar industry, they closed down. And I remember Prime Minister Pandey, Minister Pandey at that time, leader of the opposition, telling Minister Rahel, you have scorched the earth, and you have scorched the lives of thousands of people. That is the pain and suffering of the people had to endure under PNM.
And now Petrotrin too.
And now Petrotrin. Billions of dollars wasted, and they cannot get somebody to even consider buying it or taking it for free. And they have the audacity to say that UNCN support anything. We support what is good law, we support what is benefit for the country and what is important for the country. We're not bothered about all nonsensical statements on that side. Mr. President, I want to congratulate my colleagues on this side and the independent senators as well. Senator Mark, who opened with the fury and the facts, undisputable facts. And then Senator Jolene John and my beloved friend, Senator Roberts, who spoke the truth on this important piece of legislation. Mr. President, let me take this Senate to a situation where we are in now. Where are we? After $500 billion, $500 billion have been spent by this PNM government in 8.5 years. What have they to show for it? Nothing. Absolute nothing.
Nothing.
And you know where we are in terms of borrowing now? How much we owe as a country? I want to quote from the Auditor General's report of 2022 financial year, Volume 1, Accounts of the Treasury and Accounts of Receivers of Revenue of Ministries and Departments. On page 34, summary. Central government as of September 30th, 2022, domestic loans, $66,963 million. External loans, $28,443 million. Loans service under Head 18, $3,400 million. Total of $98,810 million. Then they included the BOLD project recently, $232 billion. That's the one wrongly, Savannah. It costed $232 million for that project. Contingent liabilities as at September 30th, 2022. Loans and credits guaranteed by the state, $14,913 million. Letters of comfort, $16,329 million. Promissory notes, $5,378 million. And open market operations, re-treasury bill, $8,479 million. A total of $144 billion. $144,143 million is what Trinidad and Tobago owes. And the PNM government is the one mostly responsible for all this money that we are owing. So if we calculate it, 1.4 million people, and we owe $140 billion, it's 100,000 each citizen of Trinidad and Tobago will be owing. You mortgage the lives, our lives, the lives of our more seniors, and their children's lives, and the ones to be born. Because most of these loans are not going to be paid before 2040, some of these loans. The Minister of Finance comes. I had the privilege of, during the COVID in 2020, when I was in the other place, having to respond to him on the same type of bill, the Development Loans Act, and then we only had about 4 of us on either side to speak. So we had about 10 minutes to speak. And we made objections then in 2020. So in 2015, the nation was being asked to accept what the PNM wanted, to have a development loan move from 30 to 45 billion in ceiling, and 2 others, not only the development loan, but external loans from 15 to 30 billion. This is what they asked for in 2015. An expansion of 15 billion on the external loans, and also a guaranteed loans of 25 to 40 billion, which is another 15 billion. So in that one sweep in 2015, they moved the development loan ceiling from 30 to 45, that's 15. The external loans from 15 to 30, that's another 15, that's 30. And the 25 to 40 for the Guaranteed Loans Act, 25 to 40, that's $55 billion. In 2015, 4 months after they came into office. In 1 year, they asked for extension of ceilings of 3 of the areas where you can borrow money. And let me repeat it. Development loan went from 30 to 45. External Loans Act went from 15 to 30 billion. And Guaranteed Loans Act went from 25 to 40 billion. And then now he says he has a headroom of 12 billion in the External Loans Act and 20 billion in the Guaranteed Loans Act. If you name man, why you go under these rather than hiding under the Development Loans Act and borrow the money from these? You have $32 billion available for you under the External Loans Act and the Guaranteed Loans Act. So why are you coming surreptitiously now and want money for the Development Loan Act? And you're making all sort of nonsensical type of statements saying We don't like to borrow externally, and the Development Loans Act, we could borrow from everybody locally, and you will get the support locally, and you'll ensure economic development locally and so on. What utter rubbish. There is a hidden agenda in this. The hidden agenda, they want to have that 10 billion available for if the Prime Minister calls the election, that will be available for the Minister, the Honourable Minister of Infrastructure.
He sell them
yeah, and he spoke about it, everything he has in the plans this evening. He said all the things that he wants to do.
Tory jump out.
And that is what they want to win the hearts of the people. But the time has come. The people are fed up of them. They want them out as fast as possible. So no matter what they do and how much money they spend, the people will vote them out. And it will be like a 33-3 again. It will be like a 33-3. Mr. President, the Honourable Minister of Finance speaks about they don't like to borrow external. But as far as I can see here, external loans is $28 billion. So who borrowed that? External loan is $28 billion.
Who borrowed that?
I feel sorry for my friend, you know. They put him in the wrong ministry for 8 years and he's suffering there as Minister of Finance. You know how much times? We go back a long way. That's my friend too.
He's unqualified for it?
But he wanted really Ministry of Energy. He did his master's in energy and so on. He has 2 masters, 3 masters probably. Oh, wow. Bright guy. But he can't run Ministry of Finance at all. He learned it on the job, but he's still learning. You know, to be a specialist doctor now across the world, you have to go through 4 years in medicine, another 4 years after that. 12 years it takes. He has another 4 years before he can even reach to understand what finance is about. No, but coming back to a serious part of it, the Honourable Minister of Finance said he doesn't like to borrow externally. But the Andean Development Bank, Honourable Minister, how much money have you borrowed from them over the period of time? The Andean Development Bank was a bank that Minister Dukaran at that time had to make a strong decision, come to Cabinet and get Cabinet approval for us to pay the amount of money, billions of dollars, to be able to join the Andean Development Bank. They wouldn't give you money, so you have to have money within the banking system. Is your contribution that you will be borrowing back from. And the Andean Development Bank, $20 billion have been borrowed from them by this government. Andean Development Bank. And I can give you the dates.
He say you make it up. Tell him.
No, the dates. Loan agreement, Andean Corporation, CFA.
Tell him.
And the number is 2017009. The amount is 195 million TT, July, and that was taken out on July 21, 2017, and ending July 2032. The next one, 120 million, taken out on April 23rd, 2020, and ending on April 23rd, 2033.
That minister there? 13
years from now, you have to pay it. And then they have another one from the Andean, the 1.3 billion. 1.3 billion, loan agreement August 13, 2019, repayable in 20 semi-annual installments commencing August 2024. This 2024, this just borrowed, and ending August 2039. You see how they have mortgaged the lives of our children and our people? 2039 to finish pay off for this.
My daughter will be 24.
I remember when he had to travel the rapid rail, I think, and he had borrowed $500 million. It took us about 10 years to pay that $500 million. And where is the rapid rail now? Correct. I mean, they must be honest about themselves. Yeah. And then, More from the Andean Development Bank, 2019. Another one, 2020, and that is 100 million US.
US?
US, converted into TT, 674 million TT. Another one, 24 billion, 208 million US, 1.6 billion TT, and so on. The whole page is filled with it.
So
this is the whole page from the Auditor General report
he accepts that
of 2022.
He accepts.
And then we went on to borrow from IADB. IADB, a whole heap of money from IADB. And their loans expiring in 2041.
Oh, Lord, we poor children.
2041.
So, Senator, you don't need to read out every single one. I understand the point that you're making.
Sorry.
And that point has been made. So if you want to move on now, I invite you to do so.
Nothing wrong with re-emphasis. Nothing wrong with re-emphasis. It might have slipped the minds of the brain of some people. So external loans come up to 29 billion in external loans. And the minister says that they don't like to borrow externally because the interest rates are high and you have to meet a lot of conditionalities and so on. So where do we borrow? We borrow under the Development Loans Act, and you hope to be able to get money to do the things. I was looking up a while ago. We under the Development Loans Act. And he wants to get his ceiling moved and so on, from 65 to 75. So in 4 years, the ceiling moved from 30 to 75, 45 billion more on that ceiling, where he still has money available on the other two miscellaneous, the corporation one and the other.
So why he do that then?
So, development, we're talking about development for the entire day. And you know what development, the dictionary says? It's a process that creates growth, progress, positive change, or the addition of physical, economic, environmental, social, and demographic components. Advancement, evolution, expansion, improvement, increased progress, structural development, construction, etc. Positive change in quality, quantitative change always valued. This is what development. Can this government tell this country, have they created growth in this country? No. Have they created progress? Is regress. Have they created positive change? Is negative mindset in the minds of the people? They have fear in them. We go around here, I sleep in my home and I'm fearful because there was someone at the back of my home, and because I'm observant, 2 o'clock in the morning. Social and demographic components. The people are suffering. People cannot eat. They skip a meal a day. Some people skip a whole day without eating. You have thousands of citizens without job. You have thousands with low menial job. You have about 100,000 people only doing security work. You have brought down the meritocracy in education. You have reduced the amount of scholarships. You have reduced GATE. So you're bringing the country back to where we would have been 100 years ago. And you want to say that that is progress, and that is development, and you want development, you want money for a development loan? Where is it? Is it in the sky? We can't see it, we cannot feel it. So, Mr. President, growth is biologic. Development is social. People have to improve the quality of their lives. It's emotional, how you feel. People don't want to live in this country. In 1987, I remember, over 80,000 citizens left this country. Now thousands are leaving, begging to go to the United States and Canada where things are not as good. But they want to move out. If I were my age, now, I might seriously consider going abroad myself, because it is terrible. It is terrible, and that's how I can describe it. It's the worst state that I have seen Trinidad and Tobago in, and I have been here for decades. I was offered a job in Canada in 1988 to be an assistant professor in my field. I turned it down because I said I could go to Maracas in short pants on a Sunday. But where we now, we can't even leave to go out from our homes. I want to ask the Minister of Finance now. They had to do a refinancing of the World GTL loan that was taken in 2009. 900 million US. And to pay that in 10 years. We were part of a government for 2010 to 2015. We had to pay the interest. It was 9.5% interest then that Malcolm Jones and his team put World GTL on Trinidad's thing. For 10 years, we paid 95%, 9.5 by 10 years, of 900 million US. That is about 6 billion US, TT. So it came for refinancing. So we almost had to pay the full amount of 950 million US in the 10 years, but it came for refinancing in 2019. And ask him, the Honorable Minister of Finance, what was the interest rate that they decided on? The same 9.5%. And that's a minister who's saying that they go externally because they could get interest rates low. So in other words, the World GTL project, 950 million US plus 950 million, again, payment in interest, and then you still have this 950 million to pay for the next 10 years. That is what the World GTL cost us, and there was another borrowing of 750 million US in 2007. Senator Mark, you would remember that. I've been around a long time, you know. I've been in this area for 30 years. I mean, it's destroyed my medical practice, but I fought for my country, and I fought for what I wanted, and I'm still fighting for it. I will still continue to fight for it. Mr. I had to leave when I was associate professor at the university and clinical dean to come and do some work to help Mr. Panley, and it started then. So it irks me to see that when we want to develop young people in Trinidad and Tobago to be at the best level, the highest level of their capability, and they're stymied because they can't get the opportunities. The parents can't send them to school. 9,000 children failing to get more than 30% in the SEA examination. Their mothers don't have money to send them to school to buy the clothes, to buy books. Honorable President, this is a very sad state of affairs, very sad. And then in addition to that, they talk about the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. They withdrew from 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. The Heritage Fund stood in 2010 at 3.621 billion. In 2015, it stood at 5.655 billion. So they had gained almost 2 billion more in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund during our administration. From September 30th, 2015, they began to borrow from the HSF. 2016, 375 million. 2017, 252 million. In September 30th, 2020, they lost 979 million in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. This is confronting global turbulence, Trinidad and Tobago Heritage and Stabilization Fund, Appendix 1, financial year end portfolio valuation in US dollars. And in 2021, they lost another they borrowed 892 million. So 892 plus 252, that's 10, 11, 40, plus 375, 14, 15, 1.5, 1,500 million US. That's nearly 9 to 10 billion TT they borrowed from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. In addition, all these things about Development Loans Act borrowing and borrowing, what they're doing with the money, absolutely nothing. And the Minister of Works come in today to tell you something about what they have done and so on. What he has done in the Ministry of Works and so on. We spent about 350 billion, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisas's People's Partnership Government in the 5 years. 350 billion. Mr. President, and this is for the viewing public and the listening public, what we did in health, the Children's Life Fund Act, 150 children benefited, 36.7 million.
So,
Senator, renovation of the Arima District Health Facility, Arima Hospital.
So before you get into that, what is happening now is that you're repeating arguments made by senators that have gone before. We've heard about the Children's Life Fund. We've heard about the number of children that received funding under one administration versus another. So I'll ask you now to just move on to another point.
On to our accomplishments. That was just one of the accomplishments, Honorable President. The Gov't Children's Hospital, the Gov't District Health Facility, the Carenage Health Center, the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex Women's Hospital.
53(1)B, tedious repetition.
So 53(1)B is tedious repetition, but like I said, you're moving on from the Children's Life Fund or anything of that sort. We've heard about that already. Just bring new points coming forward.
It's painful for them to listen to the truth. Yeah, Honorable Minister, I am giving an expose of what the United National Congress, the People's Party did, our $350 billion in our development.
Yes.
And we borrowed money from the development loan just once.
And she like children.
And 4 times they have gone. So it is incumbent upon us as the opposition party and the next government of Trinidad and Tobago to remind the people this is what we did during our time, which they understand. So I don't know what they're making of us. They can't come and say what they have done, so they don't want me to say what we have done.
The IY is only act.
The National Oncology Center, Penal Hospital and Rehabilitation Center, Palo Seco Health Center, Point Forte Hospital, we started. Sangre Grande Hospital, we finished the tender for Sangre Grande enhancements.
Point of order.
Yeah.
Point of order. We heard all of this.
Both? No. Minister, have a seat. Senator Gopeesingh. Yes.
We heard all of this.
But don't let that happen again. If there's a point of order, allow it to be raised. I will rule, and then you're allowed to continue speaking based on that ruling. There's another point of order in relation to tedious repetition. Like I've said, we've heard arguments coming from senators before along the lines of development under one administration versus development under another administration. That has been the repeated argument all day. So what I'm asking you to do at this point is bring new information to the fore, because you will run afoul of tedious repetition because of the position that you're coming in this debate.
Honorable President, am I to understand? I can't.
Point of order, please. Point of order, please.
Again?
Yes. 46(5). A remark was made in reference. No.
President, I apologize for
Okay. All right. So the standing order is.
It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Minister and Senator. The point of order raised is in relation to the use of the proper titles of members in the chamber. I have reiterated from time and time again in debates past, debates today, and of course debates going forward, that we refer to members by their proper title. Be so guided. Continue, Senator.
I publicly apologize to my distinguished colleague who has part of my surname, Gopi, Senator Gopi, and I apologize to her.
For calling
No need to...
Yeah.
Senator, members.
Compliment.
Senator Roberts, Minister of Finance, Senator Gopeesingh, have a seat. We are veering way off what it is before us right now. And time is just running. Senator Gopeesingh, no need to repeat or respond to anything I've said. The point of order was raised. I've ruled. Just continue with the arguments.
Thank you very much, Honourable President, for the opportunity. I just thought I need to respond to the Honourable Minister of Works in terms of infrastructure programs that he was saying that he did. So I want to juxtapose what the United National Congress did in 5 short years and what he didn't do in 8 years. And just to go, the Diego Martin Highway Expansion Program was a UNC project. Taruba Link Road Upgrade Project, Valencia Bypass Project, reconstruction and widening of the Churchill
Okay, so
Highway.
Senator, I've indicated before there's no need to reiterate all the projects on one side versus the projects on the next side. We've dealt with that already. We've heard many projects throughout the entire day. Again, any new points that you have, bring them forward. You could come off the developmental aspect of this now. I don't need to hear about any projects on any side. That argument has been made ad nauseum.
Yeah, I will move from that. I mean, the whole country knows the achievements of the United National Congress under Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessa's administration. Undoubtedly, the best performing government this country has ever. And I'm filled with pages. I remember the leader of the opposition in the other place displayed a booklet with about 420 pages of pure achievements of the People's Partnership Government. We would spend days here trying to indicate, to say what we did. The country knows it. It's on the website. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Anybody can see what we did. So I don't really need to repeat. But I think I wanted the government to be reminded this was a performing government, just unlike their government. It's been a non-performing government.
Correct.
So I want to just consolidate on this point about the expenditure and so on. The interest payments that accumulate as a result of the borrowings. In 2020 to 2021, $4,938 million. In 21-22, $4,927 million. Up to October 23, $198 million. And 2022 to 2023, the interest rate on all the loans of Trinidad and Tobago, $5,229 million. And in 2023 to 2024 so far, $5,128 million. So this interest alone to pay $5 billion on an annual basis, interest plus the principals, you're taking a chunk of about $12 or $13 billion every year from our budgetary allocation, our budget expenditure. How could a country move forward with any development when 12 to $13 billion come out just repaying loans and paying interest? Can we go anywhere? That is what the People's National Movement between 2015 to 2024 now have been putting out to this country. We can't go anywhere because of the quagmire that they have put us in. And We can't seem to be able to get out of it. It will have to be a United National Congress government, soon to be, to take us out of the abominable mess that we are in at this moment. Mr. President, Honorable President.
Senator, you have 5 more minutes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I think what we're seeing here now is a government in desperation, a government who sees an election coming up and want to have funds available for it and going about it in a surreptitious manner when funds are available, almost $25 billion on the other 2 loans, but want to get it under the development loan. So, Mr. President, in conclusion, one of the issues that stands out to us in this whole debacle is the government's lack of a clear plan to repay these billions of dollars in loans, which we just spoke about. Can they tell us what is their debt management and debt repayment strategy? They have none. What are the accompanying strategies to support the racking up of debt? They cannot come to this Parliament and say they are coming to ask for a raising of the ceiling for the 4th time to a record $75 billion and keep refusing to account for where the money went. Where did the money go? They can't tell us anything. They're fumbling to just find a few things to say what they have done. As well as they're failing to tell us what is the debt management and debt repayment strategy. So, Mr. President, I cannot say in any good conscience that we on this side want to support this motion. It would be against our grain and our value system. We want the country to do well. We want the country to not continue to start some development process, but we have to wait until we come in. I see this motion as conmanship, misinformation, I wouldn't use the word corruption, an avenue for the government to perpetuate, I would call it destructive and less honorable economic terrorism against the people of this country. There's no transparency, accountability, nor any development from this measure. Instead, the citizens of this country are forced to endure the government's wanton wastage, misuse of the taxpayers' dollars, and blatant corruption every time they come here to raise the debt ceiling. They are callously endangering not just our present, already unstable economic system, but also our future economic viability by this reckless, sinister, and highly questionable act. I say to the Honourable Minister of Finance, withdraw this motion and spend your time today telling us in your closing up, for once and for all, can you tell us where the money gone? And after you account to this population for your wastage and destruction of our economy, resign and call the elections out. Because you have been tried, you have been tested, and found wanting by the people of this country. And they must be counting down the days to the people are counting down the days to consign you all, once and for all, into the political wilderness and take their country back. The 1.4 million people want the country back from this dictatorship and road to ruins. Thank you very much, Mr. President.